we've covered in the past how big a Borderlands 2 fan I am, right? Like, I played an unhealthy amount of it.
Yeah, and I myself, I played less of 2 than I did of 1. I played 1 a lot, but I played quite a bit of 2. Oh yeah, so you've got some love here for Borderlands 2.
Yeah,
Right.
I think we talked last week how I reinstalled the game, or 2 weeks ago or something. We have talked about how I'm playing that game again passively, and so this week there are rumors out there that there might be some free DLC put out for that game that bridges Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3, and that's all they had to say to get me to play like 20 hours of that game in 3 days.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm impressed by the amount of hours you put in.
You
considering
that you be.
that you also work and have life and do things.
Yeah, I'm reminded just how unhealthily I played Borderlands 2 when it came out. Like that was the game that I'd go to work. Like no. Like this is how bad it was. Like there was a solid month of me playing that game where like I would wake up on my couch needing to go to work, having fallen asleep there with my controller in hand, like go shower for 10 seconds. Like I think this is back when I was like eating Snickers bars for breakfast, or like the meal replacement bars. Like I was running off of maybe like 900 calories a day by freak accident, because all of like literally I'd get up, I'd get on my motorcycle. I think it was motorcycle by then. I don't remember. I'd go to work. I'd do work. I would go home, eat something that barely resembled food, and then start playing Borderlands 2 again until I'd pass the fuck out again and repeat the cycle all over. Like by the end of a month, I just looked like a heroin addict. Like just gaunt, tired all the time, looking to the point where like one of my friends asked me, "Hey, are you on some hardcore drugs?" And I'm like, "No, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 2. And then I thought about what I had done for the last month, and it was we need to go outside during the day or something. That's not work.
I mean, I totally hear that. When I get into a game, I can kind of spend a lot of time in it easily. All right, for me, embarrassing numbers of hours in games. Go on my Steam account, look at the amount of hours that I have in Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah, it will stagger you. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but we're back in that mode. Like we're in the it's 4 a.m. I should go to work. I have to be up for work in an hour.
For me, nobody's ever done a loot shooter quite like Borderlands 2. Or Borderlands and Borderlands 2.
I'm inclined to agree with that at this point. Like, as someone who really fucking loved Destiny 1 and really ultimately did not like Destiny 2 as much as I thought I should, I'm really excited, apparently, for, like, a new, not the fucking Borderlands pre-sequel Borderlands. Like, I was not prepared.
I didn't play the pre-sequel.
For the foamy reaction of just me being like, Borderlands! Borderlands!
Yeah. And it's really cool if they actually do the DLC that you're talking about. I mean, all right, so...
Well, we will know in a week. It's being revealed, I guess, at E3 if it's happening or not. But, like, there's enough different things reporting on the rumors being true. I'm like, I'm gonna run this Necromancer up to max level for a one-time playthrough, or as high as I can for a first-time playthrough, because I'm gonna want to see this.
Oh yeah, Gage is the character that I've mainly played in there. I kind of like Zero, but I really had a lot of fun with Gage.
Maya the Siren was my main for most of Borderlands 2.
See, I didn't like her nearly as much as the Siren from the first one.
They were different enough, so what I liked about her was the phase locking thing. You could set up so it could jump to enemies after you killed them, and if you it literally came down to if you were playing her as like a heavy run-and-gun character, as opposed to kind of a melee character, which I guess, like, you could play her in a way that she became a wrecking ball, where just you could stack trigger skills on trigger skills on trigger skills, and that ball of death could become a, like, okay, yeah, it'll hit things, and then you shoot bullets into the ball, don't even bother aiming at the thing, just pump the sphere with bullets, and they ricochet inside of there for millions of points of damage.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely, that's one thing they did with 2, is they added so many more skills that could basically launch other skills and stacks and things like that, which they didn't really have in 1. I mean, in 1, that they really expanded the way the skills work and how they work together in 2.
Yeah. I'm probably playing the Vladoff soldier in 3. I'm not sure The new Siren looks cool, but she's the melee character, and I've historically not liked the melee characters. And
I always go for the melee characters. That's the first one. That's why I always use that's why I always use like characters that tend to go melee, like Zero as well. I mean,
no, I understand, but that Vladoff soldier lady summons Titans.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
I'm gonna play the class that summons Titans. I just know who I am. Hello and welcome to the Wicked Awesome Cast, 157, I believe. Yeah, 157.
Yeah, that sounds right.
157. Oh, good God.
Yeah.
In the dumbest way possible, I know 150 is only 10 away from 160, but like the distance between that and between the two seems gigantic. Like 100 to 100, 0 to 100, whatever. 150 to 160, because then you're into dumb numbers. Like, no one owns 160 of anything. Well, they do, but like no one's like, yeah, I own 160, whatever. It's like it's 100, 150 because Pokemon, and then like 1,000. We're in the void numbers.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, wow, that's a dumb number.
Yep.
Yeah. But yes, welcome. As always, I'm Charlie, a.k.a. Mordak, joined by Henry, a.k.a. Kraken Zero, Professor Kraken. Which one you going with this week, dude? Help me out.
I mean, usually it's Kraken Zero.
Yep.
But we are Alex-less again, unfortunately.
As fun as the charade was last week, Alex is not dead. He's actually just sick this time, so...
Yeah. But I know Alex has announced that he's only going to be here for Game of Thrones podcasts from now on.
Oh, good God. So. It's the Game of Thrones podcast that made him sick.
Oh, yeah.
All that talk of Game of Thrones brought up some bad poison in his system, and it poisoned him, and now lying low to let it seep out. A good bleeding with leeches and other Westeros-style medicine approaches are what ails him.
Yeah, he caught grayscale.
Yeah. So that's one of those ones I kind of spent some time thinking about. Is grayscale just like psoriasis that with people that get driven insane by... I know it's not, but like occasionally trying to put some of the ailments in that show into like modern day things where it's like,
there is a disease that makes your skin harden.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect you neurologically. So just mix that in with a bit of syphilis.
Well, I imagine like
does make you crazy.
I could imagine like the pain could drive you mad eventually or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the interesting thing is, in kind of opposite to most diseases, that one, not to go too long into that, but that one, somehow you can save people if they're kids, but if they're adults and they get it, they're pretty much doomed.
Unless you, like, fucking pry it off them with a knife.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But yeah. Anyways.
Westeros MD.
Yeah.
Yeah! That's the CSI, my bad.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to this week, man?
I played a game a lot. I found a game on sale, Slay the Spire. So it's a relatively new game.
I feel like I know of this game.
Oh yeah, it got pretty famous. It's a very fascinating game. So the way it works is it's basically it's yet again one of these one-player card games. It's a deck builder game.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot of similarities to Munchkin, actually. A lot of similarities to Munchkin. And, alright, so the way it plays is, it's laid out a lot like a traditional RPG. That is, you kind of have your player and then enemies pop up. And so during the battle, there's 3 different characters you can choose from, and you have a deck of cards. And you get hands from your deck of cards that you can then play each turn according to how much energy they cost. You get a certain amount of energy each round which is just sort of given. And so as you go along, you also can add cards to your deck, as well as getting sort of relics that also affect gameplay. But yeah, it's just what cards you get is totally random. What you start with is generally set, but what you get as you go through the game can vastly change the way you play that particular character. Because essentially, each character has certain ways they attack, or certain things about them, certain skills or abilities that are quite different. And depending on the cards you get, you may go in one direction or another, one strategy or another. And so, yeah, it's super fun. And it's also rogue-like-ish.
Oh, no!
And then its maps are randomly generated. The way the maps work, it's just, you have your choice of paths through a map, whatever path you go through, you always end up in the same number of points. Number of sort of stops. Each stop may be a monster, an elite monster, a question mark, which could be anything, potentially, including special events, shopkeepers.
What is a special event?
So some of the special events might give you an artifact. It might have some sort of a cursed trade-off, though. Some of them, it's just something happens, and you have to make a choice on whether to maybe lose some life, lose something else. Some of them are like positive, some of them are trade-offs, some of them are just negative. So those are possibilities. Sometimes it may also just be like a shopkeeper as well, or an item. But yeah, sometimes it's these sort of scripted narrative events where you have to choose the outcome, which outcome you'd prefer. But yeah, it's got the three characters. They play vastly different, completely different, to the point that, like, essentially. So the first one is basically called the Ironclad, and that's just sort of your general warrior. He just does a lot of damage. That's pretty much it. He just does a ton of damage. Easiest character to play, though. Like, I have played him twice, and I have beaten it twice with him.
How long does it take to beat, I guess?
Oh, about an hour if you take your time a little bit. I mean, you do it way faster. It takes me typically about an hour to go through. It's 3 levels, and at the end of each level, you get a big boss.
Okay.
The Silent is an assassin type, kind of fun, but way hard to play. The damage potential, it's hard for them to reach good damage potential. It's more about surviving a bit longer, and
sure.
I don't know. But it's a lot difficult, so I do not have a very good record with the Silent already.
So I may have missed this how you were talking about this, and I apologize for that. Can you explain the second-to-second gameplay, I guess?
Alright, so, in RPG style, you have your deck, you have your hand from your deck of cards.
Okay.
And so I did kind of mention it, but yeah, you have energy, kind of like mana, and then you can play cards according to their cost each round. And then the enemies go. And then it goes back and forth like an RPG, except instead of having all of your moves available at once, you only have, like, the general hand size is 5 cards. Your deck size could be any size. Smaller deck sizes are often a little bit more optimal, I think, so you can get around to the card combos that you want pretty easily. But yeah, you start out with 20 cards, and then go from there. And so, but yeah, turn to turn, it's choosing the right cards or combos or effects yeah, and so there's a lot of thought that goes into it. I watched somebody play it before, but playing it myself, yeah, it's extraordinary. Yeah, the Silent relies on a lot of sort of effects, so debuffs on them and buffing yourself, as well as poison damage, but a lot harder to play. The Defect I found, which is this robot character, a lot easier to play. The Defect has this really strange thing where there's these sort of orbs that you can call, using cards, that is. And these orbs have different passive and active effects. The passive effects happen every round. The active effects happen when they are cycled through. That is, you only have 3 slots to begin with, and if you push another one in the queue, it pushes the one at the front of the queue to be used. It just gets used up, and it does its active ability. And so using that has a lot of potential for super combos and a lot of damage. But yeah, I found the defect and the Ironclad a lot easier to play than the Silence. Silence a lot more challenging. But yeah, I love that. Oh, I played the heck out of that. I even played through just last night. Like literally just last night, I played through a Ironclad one. I'm 2 for 2 with the Ironclad. Really, really easy to play. And even more, alright, so usually you can also see what the characters are going to do next turn. Either whether they're going to attack or use a spell. And usually tells you also exactly how much damage the attack will be, so you know how much damage you might need to try to block or mitigate in some way. So that's also kind of cool. But I actually had ended up with a sort of a half blessing, half curse thing, which gave me more energy per round, but it removed the ability to see what the enemy was about to do. But I was still able to beat it with the Ironclad, even though I had no idea what the enemy was ever going to do. I just had to try to do as much damage as possible every round.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's right up my alley as a casual game, because it's an RPG. You can use the mouse or you can use the keyboard to play it. Really,
it's got a kind of funky style going on. I'm looking at pictures of it now.
Oh yeah, the art style is very cool. So that also helps to hold my attention personally. It makes me like a game more when the art style is quite interesting, and
yeah,
it definitely it's built its own world, and it definitely has its own style to it. And wow, yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of, I don't want to call them eldritch horror things, but I'm seeing a screenshot of someone fighting what appears to be a goopy donut and an orange diamond polygon of some kind.
Oh yeah, that's a big boss. That's one of the big bosses. But yeah,
okay.
There's a lot of weird creatures in it. Some of them are kind of humanoid. Many of them are not. It's such a cool game. This is definitely one I highly recommend, as have many people. I like it because if I'm not feeling like a twitchy shooter type of thing or something that requires reflexes,
sure,
thought, there you go.
Nice and relaxed for you.
Yeah, and unlike, say, Cultist Simulator, which I mentioned before and I didn't really enjoy so much.
Yeah.
There's no timing thing. I can sit and wait on a turn or anything. I can play each card as slowly or as quickly as I want.
I was gonna say too, like the arts. Like part of my issue with the Cultist Simulator was just kind of the interface for it looked very polarizing.
Yeah, it's very simplistic. It has. I like the art style and the cards for that, but it's just there's not a whole lot of art to the game.
Yeah.
It's really happening in your mind, which is cool. I love reading. And I like imagination, but for me, Slay the Spire, way more satisfying as a card-based game, I'd say. But yeah, highly recommend that. Other than that, I also watched something that just came out. All right, so I'm sure we've talked about this before, but the Dead by Daylight creators have created another asymmetrical game now.
I did not know this, actually. I think I managed to miss this completely.
Okay, yeah, it has the best title ever, Death Garden Blood Harvest.
That's a metal band if I ever heard one.
Oh yeah, it is asymmetrical. It's a 4-on-1 asymmetrical, but this one's an FPS shooter, and it moves fast. Whereas Dead by Daylight has a very specific pacing, and you can't really move that fast.
What is this game?
Oh, it's fabulous. I watched one streamer I like, Swind, actually, play it last night, and it's lovely. It's only just came out on Friday. So I mean, this is
Terminator skin available apparently for
Yep, they're already going for the licenses. They have, like I mentioned before, like Dead by Daylight already has 6 licenses. Well, they're already starting with the licenses for Death Garden, and it is the T800. And so yeah, but it's fast action. It feels like a modern shooter. That is, you're you're agile. You move and jump well. You can climb walls very easily and quickly.
Explain the two roles, because obviously there is the hunter and the huntee. Is it 4 hunting 1 or 1 hunting 4?
It is 1 hunting 4.
Okay.
So it's much like the other one. You have one super OP character, it's purposely OP character, and a bunch of people kind of trying to do their own thing. And man, this thing gets frantic. It's fast action. Like a modern shooter, it feels like a modern shooter in every the way I was watching.
Sure.
And so it's 4-on-1, and so you're trying to kind of gather blood and leave, so you can leave the area, leave the blood harvest area as it goes, the Death Garden. And so the 4 players are running around trying to sort of go to these sections and areas, smaller ones and larger ones, and collect blood. They can also do it together. There's the teamwork aspect seems to be definitely a big one, because like Left 4 Dead, like Dead by Daylight, if somebody gets downed, you can go and pick them back up. But it's also like if they catch up to you and have you for a few seconds, they can execute you, and then you're dead for good. And so, as far as I can tell, the one playing the hunter is more or less invincible, just like Dead by Daylight.
Like, do you have weapons as a non-hunter?
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay.
They don't really seem to do any a whole lot. Most of them are just to maybe pause them or mess with their vision or hold them up a bit. Your weapons seem to be just as much for sort of, well, you can use them to signal each other. I saw people doing that. And also for shooting at things. I only saw a certain amount of it, so I can only speak so much on it because I haven't played it yet. I am going to pick it up. It's real cheap right now.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer while you're talking about this, and, like, if you're a fan of Dead by, you should totally check this out, because, like, this game looks weird. Like, it almost looks like the non-hunter characters seem to have, like, parkour moves almost or something.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it looks easy and seamless.
Yeah.
As well. Like, it's fast. It's really fast. It's it's more like a modern shooter.
It's got a real cool Hunger Games vibe to it, too. Like, I was not prepared. Like, I saw a picture, I'm like, okay, T-1000s, whatever. People in creepy deer skulls, whatever. No, the trailer has, like, the runners are wearing these cool-ass post-apocalyptic, like, face mask things, too. It kind of like Dead by Daylight's lore weirdly fascinates me. I want to know the lore of this game now, too, because it looks cool.
Yeah, I need to just do more research on it, because
what does it cost right now, out. Curiosity.
$9. It's on sale.
Fuck yeah! If you get this, let me know. I will play this with you.
Yeah, it's still on sale. It'll be on sale until June 6th, and so right now it's only not $10. It's $9.99, and oh man, already it looks like it's. I mean, I was watching people queue for it. Seems like it's pretty easy to queue. I mean, they've already have the system that they created for Dead by Daylight, so it looks awesome. And I am hyped to play it. I think it might melt my computer, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
This is something that it looks so awesome. I mean, it's completely it has. I can see where some of the similar mechanics and systems are in play, but the gameplay is totally different.
No, it addresses kind of my issue with Dead by Daylight, which is kind of it's a very tense and slow game. This thing just looks frantic, and that's cool.
Yeah, it is scrambling around. You don't have much life, so when the hunter gets after you, they rip you apart quickly. And so they made them properly OP, so you should fear the hunter. You should not stick around to try to fight with him. They will just own you and kill you. So, but as long as other people are around, they can revive you. Also, of course, doing things in teams, that is like gathering blood as a team, makes the gathering faster. Because you basically have to sit around a landmark to gather the blood, but the meter goes faster if you have more players doing it.
I personally just love the sentence, have to hang around to gather the blood. Like, that is some weird, like, you could make a game that wasn't this game based off that sentence alone.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, these are great universe creators. Now, I just want to reiterate, I'm always a little bit worried with this company because they've really loved to get these licenses, and I feel like that's one of the things that actually hurt Telltale Games, because Telltale Games was almost entirely licenses. I think all, like, 100% licenses.
No, not 100%, but
very close.
Yeah. Well, like, what's a license, I guess? Like, a Sam & Max technically a license? Because I think they owned that at the end.
Yeah, that's LucasArts.
No, I think they owned that at the end, though, or something.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
So they did own that one.
I get what you're saying. I
don't want to see this such great games lose it because they're just not making enough money off of it.
Sure, but I'd also say, like, even the like, there's enough, like, they could just release them, like, in Dead by they had plenty of killers that weren't licensed ones, and I'm sure.
Oh yeah, most licensed still ones the majority. Yeah, the majority of their killers are still their originals, as well as the majority of the survivors in Dead by Daylight are still the originals. Whereas, I mean, and it looks like it's the same for Death Garden. I mean, they're adding, though. I think it's interesting that they are launching with basically Terminator DLC.
I think they just have money and they can do it now. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the Terminator looks fine. That dude in the deer skull head thing just looks cool. Like, it's like, oh, you play as a Terminator, or you play as this creepy deer head dude.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, like, that's the thing. They don't even really, in a lot of senses, need the licenses. The licenses are definitely getting them a lot more attention.
Yeah.
But man, their custom characters for both games look fantastic.
Yeah.
So, this is a game that's super up my alley. I'm totally getting it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have bought this game during this podcast based off that trailer and hearing you talk about it, and, like, just looking at this deer guy alone. Like, it's $10 right now. I've bought coffee more expensive than that, and this looks rad as hell.
Yeah, I think I'm totally going to buy it too just after the podcast. No, I'm picking this sucker up.
I totally get it. Like even the less cool characters, there's this Baron-looking dude. He looks all right, so it's got like a cool Warhammer 40K looking vibe to him. Yeah. Like, this is a game where the lamest looking character is the T-1000 so far.
Yeah, that's impressive. But yeah, I watched somebody play it and I was like, oh, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Probably talk more about this next week.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
It's a big that's it at that point, too. That's that game looks real cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so I also did some stuff since last week, most notably of which was I uninstalled The Division 2.
Oh.
I'm done. I took 2 weeks off from that game, jumped back in for an hour and said, I am just, straight not having a fun time with this, and uninstalled it, and given some Anthem news that we'll talk about later, it's either Anthem gets good again or Borderlands 3 comes out for Charlie and Loot shooters at this point. Like, those are my two options, because, like, but I'm still playing a lot of Dauntless. I got into the kind of the upper tiers of Dauntless, and I'm still fucking loving that thing. I take back some of my comments. I think last week I was a little like, maybe the monsters are a little bit easy. Some of those monsters are nuts at higher levels. Like, they start doing some weird stuff, which is cool. It's still not much. Like, I stand by my WoW comparison, but the monsters do indeed, like, I had a monster team wipe my entire, like, hunting party last night.
Ugh.
Like, we all were at 100%. We all went to 0 because we just fucked up.
Ooh.
And I'm like, wow, damn, okay, this thing's legit. Yeah, there's more depth in the mechanics. You have to get kind of past the first couple rounds of monsters, and then the game starts adding a lot more stuff you play with. I like the gear a lot in that game. I'm really enjoying the fact that I'm just strolling around in, like, gas mask and a big puffy like snow piercer winter coat, like wielding a hammer that has a cannon in it. That game is still cool. I am playing a lot more of that game than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to be like, yeah, cool, this is fine. Like, it's what I thought it was. But no, now that I'm in higher levels of it, I'm getting legit into this. I swapped from the twin blades over to my hammer, over to not my hammer, the cannon hammer, the shell hammer, whatever it's called, the hammer that you load bullets into via Gears of War quick reload animation thing. It's real cool. Those of you out there using the big axe and that's super slow, I salute you, but you're not having as much fun as I'm having. I can launch myself in the air with a hammer. It's the switch axe of this game.
Nice.
It's weird. Yeah, no, Dauntless is still really good. The other kind of game I played this week we didn't talk about last week is I played Void Bastards.
I've seen a lot of news about that.
I'm going to throw this one down early because it's important to keep in mind the entire way through. Void Bastards is a $30 game. If you're like me and you owned I think it's System Shock 2 re-release or System Shock 1 re-release on Steam, you get a discount as part of that. I would have gladly, in hindsight, paid $60 for this game. This game is awesome.
Nice.
I will not be finishing this game because it is a roguelike, and eventually my patience with roguelikes wanes out, but this game has got some unbelievable style that just kind of sells the game. So we're going to get into the weeds. It is a first-person shooter roguelike. You are tasked with clearing out derelict spaceships. Your goal is to regain your access or gain your freedom from being a prisoner it doesn't fucking matter. So this is the style aspect of the game. It's a roguelike, meaning your character dies a bunch, and there's random attributes for each character. Some are good, some are bad. Like my first character was a smoker, so they coughed at random times, breaking stealth, and they were followed immediately by
cool.
Yeah, but so then the character I got directly after that was a character who was short, so that at all times they were automatically the height of a crouch for a normal height character. And they were then immediately followed by a character that was tall. So I had to crouch to get down to normal heights. There was no stealth at that point, but they had a shit ton of health. And my longest run was with a character I got who, God, what was her thing? I had two really long runs with characters. One of them was just straight immune to half the enemies in the game, but she was colorblind, so you couldn't tell what color certain stuff was to unlock it, or if the power was out, which was cool. My longest run, though, was a lady who... what was the exact perk? I spent... I at least spent 4 hours with one character. When she died, I was super sad, because I got her spec'd out perfectly. But by the end, she could see where enemies were at all times on mini-maps, had 2x base health, plus a shit ton of armor at that point. It's a cool game. So
how do the upgrades work, or how do you kind of power up as you go along in a run?
So the way the game works is you drop into a derelict spaceship, you salvage for stuff, whether it be food, fuel, or materials. While you're on a spaceship, there are enemies of varying scales. Like at the lowest level, you have what are called tourists, which are just kind of annoying things that explode when you get too close to them. But they're super useful because you can shoot them with almost anything, and they'll wipe out a room of enemies for you. And then there's kind of a variety of other things, ranging from generic first-person shooter enemies to things called spooks that teleport around. And so rewind a sec. This game is a comic book, and by that I mean the art style is aggressively a comic book, down to if enemies are on the opposite side of a door, the game will pop up the person, what's it, the onomatopoeia? Is that what the spelling out of a sound effect is?
Yes.
Of what that enemy makes when it steps around the other side of the door. So if you see squish, it's a tourist. They bounce around the big fluid blobby things. If it's a tap, it's the juniors, which are little snot-nosed gremlin things that are super easy to kill, but they're annoying. If it's kind of a step, it's a janitor. If it's a thud, it's a sieve or something. If it's a spook, it just says what? Because a spook is a ghost version of a hard-boiled detective novel guy in space. Okay, so sorry, take a step back again. You are in the deepest of space that mutates people into weird monster things. That's why the monsters exist. It's the Bermuda Triangle of sorts. Ships go in, terrible things happen to their inhabitants, they turn into monsters. You get to kill them, etc., etc. Doesn't matter. And the game, it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah, I'm looking at, the comic book aspect. It is cel-shaded.
Yeah.
Really, really nicely done cel-shaded.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And, like,
it looks fantastic.
I'm not talking, like, Borderlands cel-shaded. I'm talking, like, even more cel-shaded. Like,
yeah, it's also has a nice palette to it. I'm looking at it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not grimdark. It's grimdark in a lot of ways, but it's also it just has a nice color palette.
One of the weapons is like a nice yellow and orange. Like I love looking at this game so much. I spent valuable upgrade points curing a character's color blindness. That and because I got sick of it being colorblind, but at the same time, this game is super cool looking when you're colorblind because then it's like manga. It's all like cel shaded and shit. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I see the part of the roguelike aspects.
Yeah.
That also in that you have to traverse a map of ships, basically.
Yes, and the ships, as best I can tell, are randomly generated. And some ships are great, and some ships are terrible. They also have random perks attached to them. Like I had a ship that I dropped into once that the modifier was like out to lunch, and just no one was there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that was cool. But so, like the more traditional roguelite aspect of it, if you will. So you have a character; they are expendable, and kind of playing back into the style. Once you die, it is revealed that you are kind of playing as a backpack, actually. Like a super intelligent mechanized backpack, and you are attaching yourself to convicts that in this universe are dehydrated and put into like a fucking ramen flavor pack and then rehydrated as needed to kind of fill the manual labor void left by your spaceship getting fucked up. The only constant is so in that
case, it reminds me a little bit of Let It Die, where you're basically just using bodies, but it's not your body.
It's very similar to that, except that like every time you die, there's this fantastic like three panel short animatic thing of your like mothership tearing open a package of convict, dumping it into your scout ship, filling it with water, and then like your dude popping up. And every time
amazing.
I see it, I'm like, I should be sick of this by now, but this is so funny an idea, I don't care.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah. And
I mean, I've seen that. I've never seen it explained like that before. I've seen the idea done. I mean, like Awesome Knots works the same way, where you just have copies of convicts, basically. But I love the ramen cooking of it all.
Yeah.
The rehydration.
And so, like, this game is unforgivably British. Like, the only kind of narrator of the game is, like, your instructional computer thing. And it is a fucking British-ass butler stereotype that every time you come back has, like, a little quip for you. And it's like, oh, if there's blood in your uniform, don't worry about it. Some water will take that out. Or, like, it treats your previous death as the most casual, like, fuck you, you're expendable, who cares, get to work, convict. But, like, in this upbeat, cheery, proper, stiff upper lip way, that's just so endearing. Like, so, the game is about tasks. You're trying to repair a ship so you can, like, free yourself and stuff. So, the first task is get an ID card so you can use the hyperdrive. And you go through the process, you get the things required to make an ID card, you get the ID card, you go back to the main ship, you try and use the ID card, and it fails. And the ship, in the most kind of bureaucratic business, like, British way goes, oh, it appears you were not registered with HR. Go register with HR. Pans to the right slowly. But that will be a problem because the HR computer has been ripped out of the spaceship.
Okay.
And then the second task is go rebuild an HR machine. Like, it's the humor is great. Like, it's a little repetitive because it's a roguelike, but at the same time, when you're on a good run, you're on a good run. Like,
yeah.
it's you start like all the ships are different enough. Like, there's like 3 or 4 styles of ships that you can recognize on visual cue. Like, I know loot every Lux ship I come across. Why? They have a shit ton of food, shit ton of stuff, and there's often some good, like, there's often lots of kind of credits in there, whatever they're called, minutes.
Okay.
Whatever they're at. Like, but also, like, I came to a space 7-Eleven at one point. There was just a shit ton of vending machines and turrets to discourage bad behavior. I could not figure out how to be bad, but I wanted to. And like, the second-to-second combat's kind of Bioshocky. Like, it's
okay.
You have 3 weapons. You have your main weapon, kind of a support item, and then what's called a gadget. And the gadgets run the gambit from like a taser you can hit robots with to stun them and then hack them if you have the kind of upgrade tree for it, to a gun that sucks enemies in and then you can throw them. It's like it's called a displacement gun, if I remember correctly. And then like and then the gadget stuff is like a poison gun or like grenades or something. And then your main gun, so far I have essentially a shotgun that suits Staples, as far as I know, a pistol, a flamethrower, kind of beam rifle that like would be great because it's a shitty charge up, but you can shoot through windows with it, which is pretty cool and powerful.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
The game is really cool and really fun. Like, it reminds me a lot of another game called Tower of Guns, where part of the fun of the game is it's just weird, and the game has such a good sense of humor about how weird it is. I can't help but love it. Like, it's I reinforced my spacesuit armor by shoving it full of the padding material from insane asylums. Like, that's the kind of humor this game has for, like, and I guess kind of like the other part of the game is you have this workshop aspect where you build stuff, and that's what you're collecting. You're collecting raw materials or specific parts you can build, new weapons and armor and all that jazz. And I guess kind of like the way a mission in the game works is you load in, you have your mini map. Typically, I always go to the helm so I can download the schematic for the place to know what to loot and stuff like that. And so you can't limit out. You have a time. There's a timer mechanism, which is oxygen. There's no oxygen in any of these ships. It clicks down. Most ships have an oxygen refuel system. Not all of them do, though, ironically. Like, some of the biggest ships in the game actually won't, so you have to prioritize your runs, and it becomes kind of a frantic mad dash. And you can asphyxiate.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, it's a death at that point.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Yeah. And it's a really cool game.
Yeah,
I am having so much fun with it. Like I said, I won't finish it because it's a roguelike, and I just don't have the patience for them ultimately. Like, but at the same time, I'm having a blast. Like,
roguelikes are my jam, so I think I might end up picking it up because roguelikes are definitely my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's listened to any previous podcasts, it's the roguelikes that I tend to go a bit nuts over.
Yeah. I would go so far as, if you like the new Doom even, you might really like this game. Like, the combat isn't the focus, but like, it's got kind of that bullets count, get them headshots, move quick and move fast vibe to it. And like,
oh, nice.
And I go into like, where like Borderlands can be kind of memey, in your face funny. This is like British, the IT crowd funny. Like, it's very
subtle.
Yeah, it's like ranging from the fact that your robot, you're like, oh, we can't give you hyperdrive access because you're not you haven't been registered with HR. Go build that computer again for us. To the tourists, when they bounce around, complain about how shitty the service has gotten lately. Like, the janitors are like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, thick Cockney accents and shit like that. Like, like, in universe, there's a company that makes creepy robotic cats. I use creepy because they're like, you use them as like remote distraction bombs, but like, you go onto spaceships that are obviously meant to be like theme parks for these weird robot doll things, where it's like, welcome to the play space for your cat. And I'm like, I just blew up 6 people with one of your cats. But I'm here to get more cats because they're super useful.
Yay, cats! Yeah, cats are amazing.
At $30,
even if all they do is explode.
Yeah, no, it's it's the fear of exploding kittens. It's a great game. Like, is it the best game I've played this year? No, but I am having so much fun with it. Like the things I have bad to say about it's a roguelike. Like it has the good and bad of that. The game is played great on my laptop. Like is it the precisest thing? No, but also it's damn fun. Like for a game where I'm dying that much, the fact that I'm like, fuck yeah, it's the hilarious animatic again of me getting revived back from being a packet of insta stuff is funny every time because it's just so clever, and that's followed by your robot like lying to you about why you were picked to be revived. Where it's like, I chose you because of your specific traits and how equipped you are for the situation. Looking at the traits, I'm an asthmatic who's tall. Fuck you, robot.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I've seen that done, but like in Let It Die, where you choose your body from the same thing, it's just like, but it's not you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds kind of up my alley. Yeah, I mean, roguelikes, I definitely play and beat roguelikes on a regular basis.
Yeah, works for me in this case. It's a first-person shooter, like it's not a side-scroller, which is what kind of my biggest issue with most of those things is. But it's really fun. If you're a fan of shooters, you should absolutely check this game out. It's just fun. Like, and at $30, I can't recommend it enough. Like, you are getting more than your money's worth. It's great. Like, the Void Bastards will be on my Game of the Year list. Like, it will not be the top probably, but it will be, like, it's a great game. This is absolutely a game you can, like, go to the mat for on style.
Yeah, I'll have to put that on my wish list.
Yeah. I did one more thing. It was last week, technically, but I couldn't talk about it till this week because of NDAs, if you will. But I am one of the fortunate few that has been to that new Star Wars land that Disney opened up recently. Like, I think like 2 days before this podcast goes up, actually it officially opened, technically.
Yeah.
I was there. I was actually there a week before it opened for something referred to as Vendor Day. I'm not allowed to go into what that means, but I'll let you kind of extrapolate what your insane theories are on. I will not be able to comment more than that, but I can talk about what's actually in Galaxy's Edge. That's what the land is called. And it's really cool. And I don't know if we've actually talked about it in a while or if ever, like my ongoing conflicted feelings about Star Wars. Being there at this thing is the most I have enjoyed Star Wars since I was like 12. I really liked it. It's really, really goddamn cool.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like once
so I guess a couple
Disney...
notes to throw up beforehand. Yeah. The land is not totally up and running. Only one of the two attractions is running. The Millennium Falcon one, called like Smuggler's Run, I believe, or something like that.
That sounds right.
Where you fly the Millennium Falcon. It's real cool. So you like go in through like a Star Wars mechanic shop, and then you board the Millennium Falcon, and the inside is the straight up Millennium Falcon. Like there's a bunch of pictures out there of it. You hang out in the chest room, then you go into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and this is where the video game podcast aspect of it happens. It's not just a simulator. You have one of three jobs. You're pilot, gunner, or engineer, and you fucking press buttons, and the game plays out in front of you. I don't think we ever talked about it on the podcast, but like NVIDIA has been heavily involved in the development of this thing, and it shows. Like, it feels like you were fucking flying. It's like a motion base, and you get a score, and so there wasn't a game up and running, but there's a whole like inter-park game that will track like credits you get from doing shit.
Oh, that's super cool.
Like, you get there are different endings and I guess like branching paths to the Millennium Falcon ride, because I was talking to someone and their pilot straight up sucked apparently, and they didn't even do a section we did, and I'm like, okay, that's different.
Yeah, that's really neat. Yeah. So I'm guessing there's more than a few booths. Like, how many booths are there that can be taken up at a time?
For the Millennium Falcon thing?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. So I guess kind of...
Because I imagine this thing's going to have a long line. So I'm just curious how many simultaneous...
We moved through pretty quickly, Falcons. And that doesn't mean anything, because we were there were reduced crowds, technically. So the way it works is you go through, like, 2/3 of the queue. You go into a room, and an alien animatronic, and it's Hondo, I think, or something, gives you a mission briefing, and then you split off, or maybe you're split off already then, I can't quite remember, into like essentially a Star Wars like airplane gangway thing, and then you're in the big famous chess table room thing from the movies. And there are 3 or 4 hallways off of that I assume all end in a cockpit, but I don't know. I only went on it once.
Okay.
I get the impression that 3 of the 4 hallways are the same, just based on looking at it.
Okay.
There was one that I think was the hallway that like Luke and Leia kiss, not Luke and Leia, Han and Leia kiss when she's doing the welding and shit like that. Like it was a different thing. So
Okay.
that's the one kicker. So you get randomly assigned a hallway. You get given like a punch card thing that denotates what your job is when you get on the ship and stuff. Like there's some matchmaking, I guess, the way of thinking of it. Like you go on a ride with 6 people. Me and my fiance were she went with me for this when we were with 2 other groups of randos, and we did fine. I could imagine this being really cool with like a group of 6.
Yeah.
And this is something you could definitely practice because,
yeah,
it's really cool. Like
yeah,
I think I saw an article out there that was talking about how it's like the most expensive arcade machine ever made, and it does kind of feel like that, but also like you're in the fucking Millennium Falcon cockpit. Like there are extra buttons and things are blinking, and the cage is there, and it just looks cool. Like it's. For all of you nerds that were like, man, I want to fly the Millennium Falcon, you can at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I feel weird saying that, but yeah, it's really well done.
I mean, yeah, once Disney actually started to take their Star Wars property seriously, they have spared no expense on it. And I am not surprised that they went all out, and it sounds just for that ride, just sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, so of the things we did there, I would argue the coolest thing you can do potentially at the entire park, as cool as the Millennium Falcon is one of the 2 kind of premium shopping experience. So like, let's take a step back. We've talked about the only of the 2 rides I got to ride. The other one's opening, I think, like in a couple weeks or something. It's a ride within a ride within a ride is the story I heard from someone, so I don't know. But yeah. So you are on, I think it's Batu, at something called the Black Spire Outpost. This is a Disney park that is showing the signs of blaster fire with patrolling stormtroopers and like rebel people milling about, and like a full-on like Star Wars style bazaar running through the middle of it, and you can get blue and green milk there. Blue milk tastes better than green milk. They both kind of taste like coconut.
What? That's okay.
They're dairy free.
I mean, I'm just like, what does that? How is that Star Wars?
It's the blue milk from the original Star Wars movie, and that's the green milk from The Last Jedi that Luke gets out of the weird walrus creature.
Oh yeah,
like it's a refreshment at that point.
Seeing where it came from, I don't want that.
Blue milk is better. I will say bantha milk, I think, is better than whatever that thing was milk. I would drink the blue milk again. I would not drink the green milk again. It wasn't bad, but it was just a little bit sweet for my taste. So most of it's kind of shopping experience. That's not true. Most of it is you're fucking in Star Wars. Like that's the hardest thing to emphasize and to show in a podcast is like wandering around. You don't feel like you're in a movie. You feel like you're on a goddamn Star Wars planet. Like the theming is ridiculous. There's just stuff all over the place. There's droids. There's parts. Like you go around a corner and just randomly there's a disassembled like scout droid from Empire Strikes Back hanging on a wall in a net.
Curious, and this is just something because I heard a big review on the Avatar Land.
Yeah,
are the workers in universe?
Yep.
Do they talk to you?
Oh yeah,
they talk to you in universe.
I would say this is the planet. So
this is the planet such and such. Like to the point that for the Avatar Land, like when somebody went on lunch break, instead of saying they're on lunch break, they'll say something like they're doing reconnaissance in the jungle or something like something like that.
So the thing I wanted the most, they did not have, and I believe they now have them because I've seen people posting pictures of them. There are specialty Coke, Diet Cokes, and Sprite bottles
Oh,
for
yeah.
this that look like goddamn hand grenades, and I want
Thermal
one.
detonators.
Yeah, yes, that's what they are. And they did not have those when I was there. And
Oh,
they had a full in-universe explanation to where the fuck those things were. Like,
that's amazing.
multiple people were asked by me if they had the Sprite grenades, and each one gave a different, but kind of along the same vein, explanation as to where the hell they were.
That's super cool. I like that. I can appreciate that.
Like, you don't pay with money, you pay with credits. Like, it's themed. It is... all of it is in universe. Like, and that's kind of where it gets kind of down to the other thing. So, there are three sounds right, premium kind of shopping experiences. One of them is this, like, a Den of Antiquities, where it's got, like, the fucking Sith and Jedi hollow cube things, and, like,
Ooh.
Jedi robes and lightsaber clips for your belt and shit like that. Like, and this is something I knew that I'm not sure other people know. Everything in that space is for sale. There's a bunch of, like, Bantha and Wampa heads up on the walls. You can buy those if you want.
They're
amazing. Like $25,000, but you can buy them if you want. But, you know, they might be worth $25,000. They're real cool. Like, fuck, you can buy, the Kiter crystals, the lightsaber crystals in there, and that's the important thing I'm going to talk about in a second. But yeah, like, that's kind of their most traditional shopping experience. It's high-end. It's cool. Like, going in there is, like, all of this expanded lore nerd shit you'd want to see there. And that's where you buy it, if you want it, kind of thing. Like, it's there, it's pricey, but it's cool. And then the other two are something called the Droid Depot. I think that's what it's called. Droid. Yeah, that sounds right. Where you build an R2 or a BB-8 droid.
Oh,
like, there's this conveyor belt with fucking droid parts on it, and you go over and you grab the parts, and you've got, like, 6 or 7 colors to pick from, and you screw it together.
Yeah, and the thing that's kind of cool about that's really cool about these things is, all right, so the product that you get itself is not necessarily super special, but you're paying for the experience of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it is.
You're like, because they'll take you through this whole, like, usually for this stuff, they take you through this whole in-universe spiel about, like, as they're building it for you or creating it for you or doing whatever. And so that's pretty cool.
Oh no, this works even weirder too. You can buy personality chips for your droids that change kind of how much of an asshole they are to you, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
They're technically remote control cars, but, like, you can have added personality to them.
Oh, that's cool.
And, like, if you want to make a black and red R2-D2, you totally can, and it looks bitchin'. And then they give you a droid cage. I think they also sell, like, fancy droid holder backpacks that you can buy and then, like, fucking carry your droid. Like, it has a specialty box it goes into that looks like you have a droid in a cage, like, walking around. You're holding a droid in a goddamn cage. It's awesome.
So about how big are they? That's what I'm curious.
I want to say 2 feet tall, but, like, my brain's telling me it's closer to 18 inches. Like, they're not tiny. Like, they're at least a foot tall.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, they are. I'm gonna say they're about, like, 6 to 9 inches, kind of circumference-wise, diameter-wise. Like, they're not small. These are things you could put on a shelf and people will see them. They are most definitely a thing.
Awesome.
But yeah, yes. So the other premium one, and this is the one I did because I couldn't justify 2 $100 plus purchases while I was there. I went with the I'm gonna call it the hardcore nerdier one. That's also unfortunately more expensive, but also totally fucking worth it. And so you asked about kind of the level of commitment to the bit that the people were doing. So the other big premium sale thing is build a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the lightsaber you get into by essentially conducting a drug deal. And by that I mean, at least when we were there, I'm hoping they actually made it a little bit easier to figure it out, because it was kind of hard to figure it out, but, like, at the same time, it was cool. Like, the entrance to this thing is, like, 4 people loitering in an alley with, like, a stack of crates, and you wander over and they pull open the crates, and there are, like, lightsaber parts in them. And that's the point of
That's
sale.
weird.
Oh, it gets weirder. So, like, there you go. Like, this is a build your own lightsaber. There are, I think it was 4 themes. Like, you've got the Vader lightsaber, the green Luke lightsaber, the blue Jedi lightsaber, and 5. And there's kind of the Defender and the Nature one. The Nature one is cool because it got like a fucking tooth pummel for it, possibly. And so each theme kind of comes with 2 to 4 options for location on the lightsaber. We'll talk about that in a second. You can kind of play with. You can't, as of when I was there, swap from kind of style to style. I wish you could, but I could also imagine they're going to start selling parts because that would be a smart move. But so, like, they show off. Like, so at the point of sale, you pick what style you're going in for, and then you wait, and you join a crowd of, like, loitering ass sketch-looking people in this alley in Star Wars land. And then you get, like, snuck into a back room into this space where it's got, like, a little work table for every person, and they bring out the parts, they have this whole, like, show about building a lightsaber, and then you literally fucking put a lightsaber together. Like, you get a tray of parts, and you assemble them around a core. You get to pick, it's a Kyber crystal, right?
Yeah.
You get to pick your Kyber crystal. There are red, green, blue, purple, or the colors. I think that sounds right. Yeah. And you put it in, and you build the hilt, and the thing weighs, like, easily, like, 5-10 pounds. Like, it's a hefty thing you're holding all of a sudden. Like, the outside shell is made up of metal parts, and then you, like, put it in this, like, plug thing. This audio cue plays, you step back, and boom, it's a lightsaber. It's glowing with whatever blade or whatever Kyber crystal you put in it. And it turns out, like, the premium retailer is mentioning, if you swap what Kyber crystal is in your lightsaber, it will change the blade.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's actually pretty cheap, honestly. If you've ever seen any just buying, some of the nicer lightsabers, like $200-$300, anything you buy, just market that you didn't even get to choose any of the parts to, just those cost that much.
Oh yeah, no.
And the fact that this is letting you build your own for basically the same price that you could get, that you would have to pay for any of the nicer versions of the lightsabers, that's a deal. And people are going to buy the crap out of that.
I sure as fuck did. Like, yeah, I could nitpick the hell out of this, being like, oh, the build quality could be higher or whatever, but, like, the reality is, it is a unbelievably cool experience. Like, you get to bring one guest in with you while you build a lightsaber, and Shen's watching me the entire time being like, I saw, like, 12-year-old nerd Charlie come through for about 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, this is some full circle bullshit for me.
Which one did you build?
I built the Nature one because I am a sucker for the idea of a lightsaber having a big old tooth in the bottom of it for a pummel.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I am, like, and this is where it kind of gets weird. Like, it's the, did I get to build the lightsaber I wanted? Yeah. Was it exactly the lightsaber I wanted? Not quite. But also, like, if they're smart, they'll start selling swappable parts, because you can totally swap around parts at home. Like, it's easy it's easy to disassemble and put this thing back together, which is how I found out. Like, there are some unneeded but unbelievably cool details. Like, if you try and turn the lightsaber on with the blade detached, because it attaches super easy, it makes a short circuit noise.
Oh.
Which is cool as shit in my book. But
that's cool.
Yeah. No, but so, like, it's the, if they had other parts there for sale that I could have swapped out for my kind of, like, this is the theme you went with initial thing, I would have spent more money, in all honesty. Like, as someone who already was like, man, I spent way too much money today, they could have rung a little more, because the thing is just so cool. Like, it is a little bit corny and a little bit hokey, but, like, it's the, if you grew up with Star Wars, it's such a fucking cool experience. Like, and that's kind of the overall theme for the entire land when you're talking about it. Like, it's just cool.
This will actually, for the first time ever, maybe I'll actually go to a Disney theme park, because I've literally never been to a Disney theme park.
It is an unbelievably cool thing to go around. Like, it's the, we're not even done through talking all this stuff. So, like, it's the, like, this is a theme park. It's mostly a place to spend money. Like, the bazaar is full up lots of cool Star Wars stuff. Like, it's divided pretty heavily between First Order and Rebel Alliance. Like there's a First Order store that sells like themed to the First Order. I bought a hat from the First Order. It is the first piece of Star Wars paraphernalia or apparel, sorry, I have bought since I was 12, and I got it because I think it looks cool. Like, it is a cool looking, mostly black baseball hat. Like, whoever did the designs for a bunch of this stuff worked their ass off on making like it's not like Disney ears. There actually are no Disney ears, but you can buy a BB-8 head or an R2 head to put on your head, kind of thing, as replace of that. Like, everything there is neat. And like the stuff that's very kind of theme park is still kind of seems to be high enough quality. It's got a sleek design to it, like depending on what faction you're going with. But then on the flip side of that, there's a whole like the bazaar, the like main stretch of this thing is full of stuff that for the most part isn't theme park stuff. It's just cool Star Wars stuff. Like they were selling plushes there of most of the characters, but they're stylized. Like they're not just like generic plush. They had like I almost want to call it like a dog toy quality to them, but like they have a unifying style to the store and look like they're not, but they look like they're handmade and stuff, and they looked cool. There was that, like, and this was in a store that sold these and like hand-carved sand crawlers or like wooden sand crawler toys. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's very in-universe feeling.
Yeah, like this is like there aren't hot dogs. You get like, all the food there is themed. You're either eating in like a hangar building that has an engine, quote, cooking your food, or you're going to like one of the 2 or 3 like street vendors that are like fake but appropriately grungy for this being a weird planet kind of thing. There's like an X-wing parked in an alley. There's like a First Order dropship thing just parked off by some woods. Like it's just you're wandering on stuff just there. I forgot to mention this. So for the lightsaber thing, they paused at one point. This is kind of the level of theming. There was a patrol of First Order stormtroopers wandering by, and they paused kind of mid-spiel to act inconspicuous.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so cool.
Like, and then they got searched and were outraged about it.
What? Wow, that's really the extra mile. That's so cool.
And this was after there was a bunch of stormtroopers up on like an elevated platform thing, which was just set dressing, like opening stuff up and like making a show of opening up hatches and shit and looking inside and talking and reporting back to base for it. And yelling at people to move along. Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, it sounds like they have absolutely delivered. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's they have the money to do so, and if they choose to actually use that money, this is the result.
Yeah, and we haven't covered kind of the last big marquee thing. Like it's weird to say like there's any one thing, because just walking around the place, I know it's like a broken heart, is just cool. Like it's the being there is like, man, you are in fucking Star Wars, and that's cool, but there is a bar. Or should I say a cantina? That is themed to the gills.
Nice.
Yeah, so you go inside, it is a bar, there's alcohol. It turns out this is the only, or I guess one of 2 locations in the Disneyland side of the Disney park in California. California Adventure, which is the other half, that is alcohol. Mm-hmm. This is only one of 2 locations that serves alcohol. You can't take the alcohol out, but like,
yeah,
you can get a variety of like tequila seems to be the preferred mixer alcohol there for this, but like it's a bunch. Everything there is a themed drink to Star Wars. I got some weird tiki drink thing that was pink and had fake eyeballs in it.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, man.
It was the Ewok-themed one. I think it was called like the Yub Yub Rum or something like that. It's supposed to come in like a Ewok-themed tiki mug thing. Cause I like tiki mugs, that's why I wanted it. I would drink that thing again. It was dangerously not alcoholic tasting, but like it came with like a fistful of like tapioca, like a boba bubble eyeballs, like but like fish egg, clear goop, black dot eyeballs just floating in the drink kind of thing.
That is a very nice touch.
Yeah.
Seeing as how we know for a fact that apparently the Ewoks, they will eat anything, including they were about to eat our brave heroes in Return of the Jedi. They were totally about to super eat them.
Yeah. So and this is where it gets even crazier. So think of this bar as kind of like a Star Wars 7-Eleven, and by that I mean most of the drinks that aren't beer come out of like a tank that's steamed up and like above the inner bar section that occasionally there's like a thing living in it. That when,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
I don't know if it's actually coming out of that tank. I assume it's not, but like there was a drink that was like a swampy green color that at least they implied came out of a tank that there was a frog creature living in, and the frog creature would occasionally kind of like ribbit.
Oh, yeah.
And the bartender would go to the wall and like pull it and like do a spigot thing, and they would fill up, they'd hand you a drink, but you'd be like, huh, okay.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I've kind of done that for real, though the thing in the bottle was definitely not alive. I had something called Habushu, which is a Okinawan liquor, and it has a habu, habu is the poisonous snake that is indigenous to Okinawa.
I've had that
and
stuff.
So it has a huge coiled snake in it. I've definitely done that for real, but man, it sounds like a great touch. Like, just it's the details. For me, world building is so much in the details. Like, that's why I enjoy like so many. There's a lot of different things I enjoy, almost merely because I love the details to the world building in it.
Yeah. Oh no, and like the bar is cool. Like, it's a big wraparound bar that feels straight out of the cantina from Star Wars. It's not the cantina. It's a cantina, but like it doesn't have the band. It's got some like droid DJ who feels appropriately like Star Wars kind of thing. It's just cool.
Nice.
Like I know I keep saying that, but like it's like, man, this is cool. That's rad. But yeah, like I said at the start of this whole kind of fanboyish deep dive, it is the most I have cared about. It is the most enjoyment I've gotten out of Star Wars since I was like 12. Like, between the fucking fan base these days and the various movies and the hiatus and like not really getting into the Clone Wars stuff that was the main thing for a while, and the Battlefront games not being great. It was
yeah.
I think we've talked about my ongoing thing where I'm like, I need Star Wars to either make me hate it or love it again, because I'm stuck in this kind of ambivalent zone. And what none of the movies or video games have done since like Revenge of the Sith, which even by that point I'm like, I'm just glad this trilogy is over to a certain extent. Like,
yeah,
I fucking could again. Like that's the best way of putting it. Like, this was back to like Charlie watching the re-releases in movie theaters, which I know people have complicated thoughts on. Don't at me over this, and being like, fuck yeah, Star Wars. I don't know the word fuck yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I totally get the same thing in that. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been super excited about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody who, I mean, I watched Return of the Jedi in the theater.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I was a little kid at the time, but yeah, I am. Yeah, this is enough to actually make me go to a Disney theme park. To be honest,
like Henry said, this is a good excuse to go to a theme park for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to theme parks, but it'll be the first time I've been to a Disney one. Like, all right, so the main theme parks I've been to are Six Flags over Texas, the first one that's actually
the
in
real
Arlington.
Six Flags.
Yeah, the one where the name actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never been to a Disney theme park. But this is definitely makes me want to go. Avatar Land doesn't make me want to go. This absolutely super does.
Yeah. On the one end, California is now open with kind of an asterisk. You have to have I think that's like to the end of June or something. You have to have an appointment to go in or something. I don't know when the Florida one opens up. I'm assuming it's sooner rather than later. But yeah, Star Wars Land. It's cool.
We practically could have done a separate podcast.
We could have. And if you two ever wind up going to it, I will. If you and Alex wind up going to it, I will figure out what my NDA says I can and cannot say about it in the grand spectrum of things, so we can talk in more detail about it. Because you asked a couple questions I'm not sure I'm allowed to answer.
Yeah,
you got vague
fair enough.
answers. But yeah, that's it for weeks, it seems. Or I guess last week, I guess, sort of technically. Things we've been up to, if you will. Video game news?
News.
God. Stealing Alex's bit.
Whatever.
Indeed.
Well, and there's actually quite a bit of news this week.
There is.
I really wish Alex was here to comment on it.
Yeah.
Even though there's no Blizzard news per se, but
You can say it's dead about Anthem, but yeah. We're gonna start on this one. Let's start with the dumbest one this week, I guess. They've been slowly unveiling kind of VR support for various Switch games. Yes, you heard that sentence right. They're still doing that. And the latest one is there's officially VR for Smash. You know, that side-scrolling fighting game can now be played in VR.
Well, I think play is maybe stretching it a bit because all right, it doesn't sound like you could actually play very well because you'd have to play one-handed.
No, because remember you have to hold the thing up to your face by holding the Joy-Cons. Like, your hands would, in theory, be on the Joy-Cons. It'd be a terrible way to play Smash.
It's like a periscope. You're holding a periscope.
One might argue it's worse than the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, because now the controller isn't even loose. Now you have to hold your hands up to your face as well.
Hypothetically, you could attach a strap of some kind and play with a Pro Controller, but for those unclear about how Nintendo VR works with the Switch, it is a extension of the Labo. We talked about this many podcasts ago, that essentially acts as kind of a periscope for your face, as Henry put it, and it does not come natively with a strap.
Nope.
The videos of it looks cool, I guess.
I mean, you could stay in theme and make the strap out of cardboard as well.
Could. There's non-cardboard stuff in Labo. There's like rubber bands and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually aware of that. I thought it was literally only paper.
It's mostly paper, but I think there's some rubber bands.
Yeah,
I don't know at this point. But yeah, that's a thing. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Call of Duty Modern Warfare will launch with console and PC crossplay.
That's something that they haven't wanted to do for a lot of competitive FPSs because of the disparity in using a controller.
Yes.
Now, as we're all well aware of.
Indeed.
But it seems like with the success of certain things, I mean, Fortnite has crossplay, right?
Yes.
Am I right in that? Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was announced. I mean, it wasn't immediate, but it was announced. Yeah, we're seeing it more. We're obviously Dauntless, which you mentioned, which you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems to be a thing now, I guess. I'm really happy about it. I think it's super cool. But I'm also I'm a PC gamer, so
There'll also be no season pass for it, but the big deal here is the crossplay. It's a cynical man, which I am, might say something like, but what if Activision is worried about a dwindling user base based on the longevity of the previous game they put out, and they're looking to kind of keep a large-looking community going at the same time by artificially padding their numbers by merging all the communities into one, thus making it big again. But this is progress either way, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think I like the idea of crossplay, and you know what? It could make a game that doesn't have a huge user base, maybe. Not that this one won't, because it's Call of Duty, but it can help it to survive a lot longer if you just have a combined community of players.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Did you watch the trailer for this thing?
I am super not interested in Call of Duty.
It's, as someone who has not bought a Call of Duty game since I think Modern Warfare not Modern, Advanced Warfare. This one looks to be like it might be worth picking up again. It's dark in a way Call of Duty has not been. Like to put
Spec Ops. Spec Ops.
Sort of, yeah. So to put on the rewind hat, like for a lot of people, myself, I think like we peaked with Call of Duty 2, where 3 was the continuation of that kind of trilogies. Or sorry, not Call of Duty 2, Modern Warfare 2. Like the Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were big deals because they were very real feeling game. Not in a
Mm-hmm.
throwaway, your guy fucking wipes jam off his face and goes on trucking after getting shot, but like the story of the game, the combat, the weapons, the locations were very of the time. And the trailer kind
Yeah.
of seems to convey a return to that. Like, fuck, there's a part of that game that if it's to be believed, like, either you are shooting people in cars while wearing, like, raver gas masks and shit to hide your identity, or you're fighting people that are doing that. Like, it's got a very of the now feel to it, which I think for a long time Call of Duty has lacked. And like, for me, who primarily actually sadly plays the storylines for those games, I think they're kind of cool. They're fun, popcorn blockbuster campaigns of a video game. It's nice to see that kind of like the trailer is unsettling because it feels very real. It also appears that Price is back, and that's cool because Price is one of my favorite characters. This feels like the Call of Duty game for people like me that were like, okay, I liked Advanced Warfare because it felt plausible still, but all this Black Ops shit and Ghosts and Infinite were just too sci-fi. They were too out there for me to kind of get into. Like, even though Advanced Warfare had wall runs, it had wall runs via exo armor kind of thing. Like, no, you put on the weird cyber suit and you get a shield and wall runs. You go, oh, that's not how life works, but fine, I'll believe it. And then Black Ops was like, yo, we're deep diving Ghost in the Shell style. That's not what I come to Call of Duty for. The trailer's cool. It's a fun's the wrong word, but it's a good trailer for a shooty video game, period, about military stuff. It very much has a kind of Spec Ops The Line vibe to it, which is one of my favorite, kind of towards the saturated end of cover shooters. Just the fact that game was like, yo, we're Call of Duty with something, or not Call of Duty, we're Gears of War something to say. How much of something to say? War crimes the thing to say? Oh my.
Yeah. So that's why I mentioned it earlier, Spec Ops. Yeah, that is where they've gone dark before. But yeah, I guess, I mean, my thing as a little side note is I don't tend to play a lot of games with realism. I'm not interested in sort of reality, I guess, being mirrored in the games I play. I kind of tend to play games as an escape, and I don't know. It's just playing a military game is too. It's too dark for me.
I totally get it.
I've literally never been interested in playing Battlefield or Call of Duty or any of those. Like, I've played one of those games once, seriously, and yeah, I have zero interest in them.
Yeah, this trailer will not change your mind on Call of Duties, and if you're comfortable playing Call of Duties, or if you're morally opposed to Call of Duties, it's a Call of Duty still. Like, Price is in the trailer, but for people like me that want that, like, not far-flung version of Call of Duty, because we do like the grounded aspect of it, we like to feel unsettled, and it's like, maybe we shouldn't be as cool playing these games as we are. Yeah. But yeah, it's getting crossplay. As someone who's going to buy that game for the campaign to hear Price talk at me again, I care a great deal about crossplay. What next? This is a quickie. Google is now requiring its apps to disclose loot box odds, not just in countries that require it across the board.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a good move. It preempts a lot of stuff, and you know what? That is perfectly. I mean, if you aren't willing to give up those numbers, you shouldn't be doing loot boxes.
Well, and ironically, this brings a bunch of countries in line with what China, of all countries, requires from its loot box rules.
Yeah, and that might have been part of it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's good. I'm liking the move to. Yeah, I think it's a good preempting, and it's totally reasonable to ask. Totally reasonable to ask a company to provide that for you. So.
Yeah, it is something that I never knew I wanted
it's not
until someone said we're doing it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that seems like a good thing.
Yeah, very reasonable. They should be able, I mean, yeah.
While we're on the topic of Google, it's already come to pass, but YouTube Gaming, YouTube Gaming, that part of YouTube we all love to use, shut down on May 30th. Yeah, that
thing I've totally heard of before.
I was at E3 when they were trying to push this thing, and it never made sense to me. I know Alex was kind of a fan of it, but I never quite got why you would go to YouTube Gaming when YouTube already existed, it would be like, I just can't think of a comparison that's that bad. Like, it'd be like if you had Netflix and Netflix TV, and they separated, like, all the stuff you want from Netflix TV is already on Netflix because it's already there, and they're kind of piggybacking on it, but it's just the TV stuff of Netflix on a separate website. Your account login is the same, but that's what YouTube gaming was. It was a slick kind of Twitch-inspired interface, I guess. I don't fucking know. I'm just happy because that means there's no longer kind of the double stream options from a broadcast standpoint, but yeah.
Yep.
YouTube gaming. It's gone.
Bye.
Indeed. Speaking of things that may be dead and gone, did you follow the Artifact drama that unfolded on Twitch?
I did. That's a thing. One of these random...
I don't even know what to
trollings.
think on this one.
Well, it's such a random trolling.
Yeah.
Alright, so go ahead and describe it.
So, the video game Artifact, you know, that card game based off of Dota 2, owned by Valve / Steam, has had a pretty lackluster community on Twitch for a long time.
Yeah. It is no Hearthstone.
It's no Go Fish or Uno is my impression either, but...
Yeah. Hey, Uno's popular.
Yeah.
Hey, go on.
Fuck yeah, Uno, yeah. I put some Uno.
Well, Uno's in Overwatch, so, yeah.
Oh. It's almost like the actual Overwatch is bad, and the game modes you can make with Overwatch tools are good, but we're not going to go into that here. Alright, so this whole Artifact thing kicked off when some streamers were joking about just how fucking dead, I guess, the Artifact tag corner segment, however the fuck Twitch people talk about different game aspects of Twitch, if you will, and no one was streaming it, kind of thing. Like, no one's playing Artifact, no nothing, and as a result of this, trolls decided to do what trolls do best, and troll. And what started off as kind of a funny thing, which was people, like, making streams that implied, like, Artifact DLC or stuck in queues for Artifact or whatever, waiting for games to load, and just kind of putting up fake bullshit that's like, oh, haha, we get it, nice, whatever. Rapidly descended to madness.
Yeah, well, I saw one that looked kind of funny. It was just like, it's Artifact, but actually it's me just doing work.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to the horrible.
So,
because it's the internet, of course.
We got everything from people just streaming content like Netflix or their pirated media to just racist propaganda to straight up porn on their Twitch panels.
I guess it's the internet, and we're awful.
Yeah, like there were some unofficial anime marathons, according to the article I'm kind of reading this off of. Some people trying out new memes, if you will. Fuck, someone even rebroadcast that Christchurch shooting thing from New Zealand. Classy!
Yeah, it's horrifying. Yep, people are garbage. Welcome to the internet.
Yep. So apparently this managed to rage for most of the weekend because Twitch was caught kind of unprepared for ridiculousness of this magnitude, and came out Tuesday after it all died down to do some damage control. But it's actually not clear if they've fixed what allowed this whole clusterfuck to happen.
Well, you can't really fix it because they have there's so many streams going on now.
Yes.
There's no way to humanly police to make sure that every game is being... I mean, you just have to wait on reports. You have to wait on people reporting it. And so there's no way they could possibly police it. I mean, the only thing they could do is be reactive. There's no proactive to this. There's no way to be proactive.
Yeah.
Just be reactive. They just super banned everybody.
And for better or
worse... Well, not everybody. They super banned the people doing bad stuff. The people that are just trolling, they're just, whatever. Yeah. But it was the bad stuff that they're just, no, you're super banned. Well done. But the thing is, people were creating accounts just to do this, sock puppet accounts just to do this. But apparently they've been proactive. That's the thing. They have enough of a team in there that when they decide to make a move, like, they've already mostly cleared it out now, as far as I can tell.
Apparently they hadn't. Like, apparently if you went back in, like, after the statement came out, there was still like totally not artifact stuff going on. Like I think it's the
Oh yeah,
combination of you can't police and not. It's part of Twitch's
oh yeah.
people kind of self-policing.
They did do one thing. They made sure that you have to use now two-factor authentication just to make an account, and that actually stopped a lot of it. Apparently, I mean, when you're making a sock puppet account, you don't. Yeah, so that's a thing. So that is one thing that they did put in to try to prevent as much of these bot accounts as well as sock puppet accounts.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah, stay classy.
Yep.
But kind of my takeaway from all of this is I'm pretty sure Artifact is kind of dead on Twitch at this point. Not that it was thriving previously, but...
Yep. That was throwing a little bit of extra dirt on top of... Yeah. It's done. Looks like we have Pokemon news.
Yeah, I was going to move on to that actually now. I was trying to do right into like on our road to E3, which means I assume they will talk more about this when we get to E3. We have a shit ton of Pokemon news to get through. The biggest and most kind of relevant to the majority of us out there, I think, at this point, is Pokemon Home.
Yeah.
And what makes Pokemon Home cool is it unifies all of the modern aspects of Pokemon, meaning both the Pokemon Let's Go games, the upcoming kind of Sword and Shield, Pokemon Go, and Blast from the Pseudo-Past, the Pokemon Bank for the 3DS. Why is this important? It means that you can pull all of your Pokemon from all your other games into Sword and Shield easily.
And that's fantastic.
Yep.
It's kind of, I guess, it's basically a unified account for Pokemon, and it's about time. But now they have the technology to support it much more effectively. So,
yeah, in the most roundabout way possible, you have made me suddenly kind of mildly care about Pokemon Go again. Jen still plays it a bunch, so I'll probably sling some of her Pokemon at some point.
Well, that's cool.
But also, I was a big fan of not the final Pokemon game on the 3DS. X and Y I got big into, and I have a lot of Pokemon left over from that I would love to bring over. Like, if this was part of Nintendo's fancy new online subscription, that'd be great, but I don't think it's going to be, because that's not how these things work occasionally. But, yeah. The other big announcement out of part of this is, I think my favorite thing, Pokemon Sleep.
This is the thing.
Yep.
What? Okay, what? Yeah.
What Pokemon is attempting to do for your walking habits, they are now attempting to do for your sleeping habits. From the makers of Pokemon Magikarp Jump, it's a coming, and not a ton of information is out there about this, but the basic idea is you put a thing in your bed, it helps tell how well you sleep, and you get points for it?
Yeah, that's weird. It sounds like it was literally created to punish insomniacs like me.
It's almost a fancy alarm clock, yeah.
I get to be reminded of how terrible I sleep from day to day.
Pikachu's gonna shame your ass.
Yeah, it's like, you weren't getting good sleep. I'm an insomniac, you jerk.
Yeah. It pairs with Pokemon Go, so the general assumption seems to be that in the same way that
literally live your life in Pokemon is what they're announcing. Like, you do nothing but Pokemon. You have a Pokemon Home, you have Pokemon Go, you have Pokemon Sleep. But, I mean, I'm just waiting for Pokemon Eat. Pokemon Breathe.
We don't want to talk about Pokemon Breathe. That's a slippery slope to Pokemon Breathe.
Yeah. But yeah, Pokemon Eat. That's going to be the next big announcement. That's my prediction for E3. Pokemon Eat will be announced.
Calorie tracker.
So that you can also be shamed by Pikachu for your bad eating habits.
I don't know.
There again, I feel like that's yelling at me.
I don't know. Pikachu being like, man, you have to have a second piece of pizza. What would help me in my personal life? Yeah.
Especially if it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Hey, listen, fat ass, you really need that pizza? Get some celery, motherfucker. We haven't walked in days. Fucking go. It's called Pokemon Get Your Fat Ass Out of the House. Yeah. Got some Anthem news. And it's not necessarily bad, but I'm not gonna say it's necessarily good.
It's Anthem news.
It is Anthem news. So after roughly a month-long hiatus, BioWare got out there in a bold move, not from a, like, they should be proud of themselves way, but in a, like, man, getting out there and doing anything Anthem-related is a bold move these days move. They had a live stream. They showed off kind of the Cataclysm, and they helped detail out what the Cataclysm, the much kind of promised, loaded, whatever the right word is for it, endgame function of Anthem's going to be, and it seems kind of cool, actually. So,
okay.
For those familiar with the way Anthem works, is you will be dropping into the free roam mode, but kind of a free roam plus mode, if you will, an extra challenging one. It's a point cumulative system. The free roam mode is already kind of that. It'll be in kind of its own little kind of sectioned off part of the map. It won't be. I didn't watch the stream for this, so I'm kind of talking out my ass some, but it won't be just what you've already done. It'll be its own little zone, if you will, with activities to complete. I'm assuming the public event system that you rack up points that then equal gear. The problem with this being is it's yet again just another chest hunt, but it does sound repeatable. And as someone who thinks the patrol part of that game is some of the best part of that game, the idea of making that the end game part of the game seems okay to me. Yeah. They promise kind of secrets and puzzles and all that jazz, which sounds cool. Like this doesn't inherently seem like a bad move for me at this point. Like this is kind of what I was hoping this would be something like. This is a raid would be nice. Honestly, more of the strongholds would be nice too at this point. But yeah. Apparently it's also all kind of building towards the main objective of to defeat Vara, the leader of the new faction of Dominion that started up, who are kicking all this off. The Dominion are the kind of main enemy faction from the game. Ooh. Yeah. It's similar to kind of something called Prison of Elders from Destiny, which I liked a lot, which was a kind of a horde mode I thought worked well, and I've always kind of wondered, like, there are aspects of Anthem that are already kind of horde mode-esque, and they work. They're some of the better parts of the game, I think. The fact they're kind of leading into that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was also kind of a bunch of more details you can read into on this, like an outline for how the thing will roll out, which I'm not going to go into because Anthem timelines are useless. But kind of in the same vein of things, Anthem Update 1.2 is upon us. It adds fast travel on free play between the kind of Strider hubs. It fixes some technical issues.
Travel.
Yeah, I might say that's the one thing that game didn't need, because getting from point A to point B is fun, but yeah. They technically updated the game during the month they said they're going to update the game, so they've also gone out there and said we're doing a it'll be ready when it's ready approach to this stuff, because we've gotten in trouble for just pushing content out the door, which they're not wrong about.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of the Anthem community is pretty sure we're going to hear more about Anthem at E3, and not necessarily in a good way, in a like, hey, Anthem's actually launching at the end of the summer or some bullshit like that. So, yeah, I have not tried the new patch yet. I thought about installing it, but I couldn't quite bring myself to, and I was too busy playing that Void Bastards game. But yeah, Anthem apparently not 100% dead and or showing some signs of life. Kind of jumping into the more serious category of things. If you thought the kind of Rockstar labor allegations were over because, Red Dead Redemption was out, you'd be wrong! A former designer for Rockstar Games has gone out there and said that a executive of the company groped them at one point.
And a whole lot of other horrible stuff.
It's so.
Let's say that's just the tip of the iceberg here.
Rockstar is one of the companies that I hope in my lifetime someone finally feels confident enough where we get to the point where you can write this, but like there's a tell-all book about Rockstar that I want
Mm-hmm.
to read because the allegations brought up in kind of this article kind of about the proceedings of this have existed for as long as I've known Rockstar existed. Like
Yeah.
I know it's trendy right now to be talking about kind of the shitty labor conditions there, and those are absolutely a thing we should be talking about. But like, ask any kind of long-term games person who kind of who keeps track of industry stuff about like, would you want to tell all about Rockstar? And the answer is yeah, because there's just been some wild and not in a good way stories out there for a long time about Rockstar.
And the thing is, and I like that this person has come forward, and I like this stuff is coming to light. But like, this is normal in a certain sense, corporate world stuff. I'm glad that it's seeing the light of day. At least we're seeing, you know, kudos to game industry people being willing to come out and bring this to light. Because let's just say, I know this for a fact. What many other companies are this poisonous when it comes to their corporate level.
Yeah.
And this guy, everything about him is poisonous. So his name is Geronimo Barrera.
Yep.
He was the vice president of product development. And so he was just known as a mercurial, just unpredictable, just absolute garbage person. And I'm just like, but yeah, let's just talk a little bit about what he's allegedly done. Yep. I'm going to say, I wouldn't even say allegedly. I'm going to say he did this because
from a legal standpoint, we must say allegedly.
Yeah, but other anonymous reports from people not wanting to lose their jobs or not wanting to be blackballed from the industry are confirming his garbage behavior. Even people have come out like, let's just go into it a little bit. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
You've got a better grasp on this than I do. I want to lay this one to you, actually, unfortunately. I'm trying to catch up some.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially, this guy, he would, now in this particular case, we're talking about this one, and this is a fellow, the fellow that has come out, his name, I'm going to butcher this name, Colin Bundschu, that's Bundschu.
Yeah.
He is a developer, and he is a developer at Rockstar, and specifically in their California offices. And so essentially, it was just kind of known that whenever this Barrera garbage guy would come around, you just had to be on edge because you didn't know what he was going to be. Occasionally, he would be apparently super helpful and super good, but sometimes he would just be awful and horrible and fire people on the spot, and then have other people come up and say, "No, you're not fired. That guy's an idiot."
Yeah.
But the thing is, shit floats to the top, man. As long as we allow it to. Useless, and this is something that's useless people tend to float to the top because nobody wants them in their division, but they've been working for a company long enough that where it's like people don't necessarily want to fire them, or they have friends that they've made, allies that they've made, so nobody wants to fire them. But yeah, it's people like this are allowed to only move up because nobody else wants to work with him. Like, would you want him on your dev team, on your immediate dev team? No.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? We're going to move him into management, and then they keep floating upwards because nobody wants to fire them and nobody wants to deal with them. But he has a history of this. Current and former employees apparently like work trips to strip clubs that he wanted to do, and it sounds like the company culture. Now it sounds like he's not the aberrant. The way it's been described here, again allegedly, is there is a very much like Riot, a very poisonous corporate culture, very poisonous culture in general.
I don't think it's the same guy, but there is kind of some of the stories that have leaked out. There's allegedly for ass covering purposes, there's someone whose nickname is the Eye of Sauron in the company, just because like when they're in town, shit gets tense.
Yeah, it sounds awful. I mean, Yeah. Even like, all right, one former Rockstar employee who said they were friendly with Barrera still described the executive's behavior as outrageous. And so, yeah, when the people that like you are describing you as a like that, yeah, you gotta imagine that the people being more anonymous, as well as this brave person who's come out with this story, it's absolutely this. I'm gonna say this happened. Allegedly.
Yes.
No, no. It's, yeah, so Barrera reportedly groped him at a club. Other people saw it, so it has been kind of a little bit verified that he was grinding on him. And, alright. That's just horrible.
Yeah.
And so, and he would do other things like walk in on, like, if he's just in a bad mood, he'll just unload on you. If you just happen to be sitting there in the office, he'll just unload on you if he's in a bad mood. It just, what's wrong with this? And the really horrible part about all of this is that this was just allowed to happen. That the executives knew about this. That he reported it. He went through all the proper channels and they did nothing about it. And I'm just gonna have to say, this is why we must have unions for programmers, for game developers, not just programmers, but game developers. There needs to be a game developers union. And that includes everybody involved in the process.
Yeah.
There must be a game developers union, or else, obviously, they're not going to self-police. And the HR department, you just have to know, the HR department of any company, they are not your friend. They are not there to help you. They're there to help the company. They're there to help the company cover its ass. So when you go for arbitration with HR, don't expect to get anything out of it, because they're there to screw you and help the company. And this is totally what happened here. But yeah, until we get collective bargaining on a union scale, complete garbage assholes like this will continue to rule the roost. I mean, but I have to say, for me personally, if he would have done that to me, he would have spent the night in the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't put up with that. I understand when people do, because they aren't prone to be, they don't like to rock the boat, and they just, for whatever reason, I totally respect that. People don't want to be violent. I really respect pacifists and people who prefer not to get confrontational, even. And especially here, a fear for your job.
Yeah.
But,
I was
for me,
situations can get complicated in ways that you honestly get to bounce back. Not fairly, but
yeah, he quit because of it, and has quit the games industry, which to me is crushing. This is so bad that this fellow, Colin Bundschuh, has totally quit the games industry. Oh yeah, by the way, this is on Kotaku. Kotaku, when they choose to do like hard journalism, they do some fantastic journalism, and this is
things.
Yeah, and they have done some fantastic. Yeah, I mean, their articles on Riot equally good, equally revealing, and thoughtful and engaging. And so, yeah, kudos to Kotaku as well for writing up this and giving it the respect and attention it deserves.
Yeah,
because this won't stop. This is just, for me, is just like, oh yeah, we got to have unions. We got to have collective bargaining. We got to have people saying, all right, if this guy continues to work here, you lose your entire game development team. Everybody, designers, programmers, voice actors, everybody's walking. So good luck with that. And until we demand better, we will never get better. They aren't going to give it to us. Nothing about them says that they have to do anything to please anybody. They see you, a lot of them will just see you as cogs in a machine. They don't see you as worthy of respect. Like I said, HR isn't there to help you. They are there to help the company. And so, yeah, until we demand better from all the companies, I mean, obviously we haven't been able to expect the consumers to do any sort of meaningful boycotts. People just seem to buy anything without considering the ethics. I try to buy as ethically as possible personally, but I don't expect everybody to.
Yeah.
But so here it's got to be from the perspective of the employees. We have to stand up to this. We can't take this. This is not acceptable. This has been going on for far too long. I'm just glad now it's getting at least some wider spread coverage than it got before when previously it was 0. But yeah, this is awful. I mean, he even says, all right, so one said Bunshu told them that Barrera had grabbed his penis. Another said Bunshu had told them Barrera groped him on the dance floor. I mean, this is awful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is just garbage. And that's the thing. It's like, well, I guess nobody's going to boycott Rockstar, although I am. But I guess we as developers, designers, everything, we have to stand up for not being treated like total garbage by powerful people. We have to show them that we have the power too. Without us, you don't exist. Your job doesn't exist without us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I mean, that's...
Yep. On to something equally scummy, but a little bit more upbeat, I guess.
At least more humorous. There's humor here.
There's humor here. Iron Maiden is suing Ion Maiden.
Sorry, just...
I've been dying for about an hour to say it that way. I've been practicing it in my brain. But yes, Iron Maiden, the metal band that you've probably heard of, famous for songs and music and selling out arenas, is suing Ion Maiden, Dev 3D Realms, for trademark infringement. What is Ion Maiden? Why, it's the first-person shooter follow-up to Bombshell. What is Bombshell? A top-down stick shooter. It was supposed to be a Duke Nukem game, but 3D Realms lost the rights to Duke Nukem, so it became Bombshell, a character with a ridiculous revolver is the best way of describing her. If you have no idea what Bombshell or Iron Maiden is, you're like most of us, but a lot of us sadly who Iron Maiden is, and this is not a great look. Why? They are being sued for $2 million in damages. Why is this not a good look? Because I'm not convinced this IP has ever made 3D Realms even $1 million.
Yeah, this isn't 3D Realms' premier title. It's really not.
What is 3D Realms' premier title at this point even?
I have no idea, but exactly. I'm just saying that they don't have one. And so no, they're not rolling in the money. I mean, apparently it's not like the band themselves may or might not be even totally aware of this, because it is a suit being brought by a company that represents their IP.
Yeah. And maybe this is you gotta sue because you gotta sue, and if you don't sue, it becomes a problem down the line, but...
Yeah. This is dumb. Alright, so I pull up the game, it's like, the look of the game has none of the feel of Iron Maiden. Like, just the look of the game is very futuristic.
Yeah.
It's not metalhead. The game doesn't look like the cover of a metal album.
One might argue...
It's not...
It does for certain bands, but not Iron Maiden, no.
Not Iron Maiden. No, not that style at all. Not even remotely. Like, they're trying to say that, like, the skull somehow looks like their mascot Eddie. Not even remotely close, and the previous game had the same logo as well. This is going to fail in the courts hard. This is so dumb. They're just going to lose money on this because they're going to be forced to pay all the court fees. I think the judge is going to take one look at it and be like, "This isn't even a case." I'm not even sure if the judge will take it. I guess they will. I don't know. I didn't read. I couldn't see anywhere where they said that the judge that it was decided that this would actually go to court. That it was just announced that they are going to take them to court. But yeah. I mean, honestly, looking at the game, everything about it, like, nothing really resembles. I mean, they're trying to say that the main protagonist's name, because it has the same initials.
Well, yeah, so let's not get into that. So it's the crux of the lawsuit basically rests on how similar Iron Maiden and Ion Maiden sound to each other, and also is then kind of bolstered, air quotations on that, bolstered, because the main protagonist's name is Shelley Harrison, and Iron Maiden's bassist is Steve Harris. And that because the bassist of the band...
Because the bassist of the band is always the one you're going to pay tribute to, said no one ever. I just have to point that out too. I'm a bassist, So
Yep.
I'm aware of that. No, it's like, unless you're Flea, nobody knows that you're a bassist.
Yep. So, Anne, again, I mentioned this in kind of an offhanded way. This is indeed the follow-up to a game called Bombshell, which had the same protagonist name, if you will, Shelley Bombshell Harrison.
Yep.
And that came back out in like 2016 or something.
Yeah. And it also used the same logo that they're trying to say
Yeah.
looks like their mascot, so yeah, this is going to fail miserably in court. I don't even know why they're bothering with this.
Life is great and definitely not a nightmare.
Yep. And yeah, not a good look.
No. Not a good look at all.
I mean, when you... Alright, so let's just say there's some metal bands are totally cool with being associated with video games. I guess other ones are way too stuck in the past. But anyway.
Metallica, known for its progressive thoughts on digital content.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of digital content, though, Australia's now in the process of suing Sony over its return policies. As you may remember, Sony's return policies are either don't download it, or kind of you have 14 days prior or post the release of a game to return something. Apparently that violates Australian law. I'm not up on the Australian return policies, I guess. But,
yeah. I mean, it goes into it a little bit in the article here, but yeah.
The crux of the lawsuit is based around the idea that under Australian law that it's if a product is deemed defective or broken or kind of all that jazz, it's allowed to be returned.
Yeah.
Steam went through something similar to this a couple years back, if I remember correctly, and they wound up making kind of their own set of rules for Australia. I could imagine that happens to PlayStation in this case as well,
Yep.
but
There again, this comes to what I believe is good legislation and good government intervention. Because, I mean, that's the thing is, like, after so many years of just ham-fisted dumb stuff trying to be passed through the courts and stuff and passed through various governments, like, this is a case of good legislation, they're being watchdogs the way they should be. So, doing exactly what they should be, so kudos to Australia.
yeah,
I mean, they're actually calling them out on stuff and saying, nope, yeah, you can't do that, according to our laws.
yeah. Let's see this one plays out. Because I'm not unconvinced that actually the PSN rules right now are not in compliance with most of the rules at that point. The biggest thing to come out of the Valve one is they had to feature a thing proclaiming the Australian return rules on their page for Australia, which makes sense. Yeah. Moving on from that, AIs are coming for your video games.
Yeah, so DeepMind is at it again, the DeepMind team. I've taken on another game, so each game that they've taken on has had a different type of complexity to it. Go is just ridiculous. I can't even describe how ridiculous it is.
I know how to play Go, and I could not explain to you how you play Go.
Oh, I'm terrible at it anyways. I love it. I love it in a lot of ways, but I'm awful at it. But in any case, their version of DeepMind created for StarCraft 2 Alpha Star defeated middle tier pros, which is very impressive given that. Well, and we talked about this before because StarCraft 2, there's a whole lot more involved and a lot more. Now you have distinct pieces you have to choose from, and it's a completely different type of strategy that you need for this than you would need for Go. And now it's playing Quake 3 Arena on the capture the flag mode. And so far they've just been playing sort of one-on-one games. So Go, StarCraft 2, yeah, those are one-on-one games. Quake 3 is can be a team, and especially the version that they're playing. They are playing the capture the flag variant, or the capture the flag mode. It was basically, there again, they fed it lots of data so it can build its Monte Carlo tree. And I've talked about this before if you need to look it up. I mean, Monte Carlo, the way Monte Carlo tree is, it basically just keeps track of how often a certain move leads to a win. and it just keeps it in a tree structure so that you can keep track of it at each branch. You can tell,
Yeah.
does this move have a 7% chance of winning or 20 or whatever. But in any case, so this was another big jump, and now that it has to work as a part of a team with human teammates, with not other AI teammates, but human teammates. And so, essentially, initially it was just, so I'm sure you're probably familiar with Capture the Flag. It is, you pick up the enemy flags and return them to the base.
Opting either for an instant win or cumulative points.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of situations here now that it has a check that it doesn't. So unlike other AIs, which could kind of cheat, they can kind of look in on each other's programming and the way they're thinking in a sense. The AI agent can only judge the other players on what they perceive. They aren't doing input reading here in a certain sense.
Yeah.
They're just perceiving what the player's doing, so they have to respond. Like, they have to work as a part of a team, and that's extraordinary. And apparently they've did really well. Even after 12 hours of practice, the human game testers were only able to win 25% of games against the agent team. So another thing on this is these maps are randomly generated. So unlike the other two circumstances with StarCraft 2 and with Go, there's no set board. There's no set environment for them to play in. So now they're having to work in a dynamically generated environment. And so every map is a new circumstance, a completely new thing to consider. And so the AI had to be adaptable to both being on a team with human players as well as working on a randomly generated map. And that is extraordinary. I mean, that is massive jumps. The DeepMind team just continues to blow me away. I want to join that team at this point. But yeah, that's actually incredibly impressive. Seeing as how poorly we have seen a lot of, more basic AIs, video game level AIs do it actual teamwork. So, yeah. I mean, it's just another huge jump in what they've been able to get the DeepMind system to be able to work with. Yeah, they apparently the nickname for this one. Each one has kind of had a nickname, like AlphaGo was the name for the one that played Go. Alpha Star for StarCraft 2. This one was nicknamed For the Win. So yeah, extraordinary, great work. Really
Start
cool.
letting AIs play Counter-Strike. I'm gonna be worried.
That's coming next. I mean, if they can play on a team, yeah. And even, I mean, not only play on a team, but there are objectives and strategy for this type of game. It's not just FPS trying to kill off everybody. They've really put DeepMind towards games that require a good bit of strategy. Well, a lot of strategy. As not just fast twitch things, which of course a computer's going to be good at fast twitch. It's going to be faster than you. It can input read, whatever. But in this case, it's focusing very heavily on the strategic element of the AIs. And I think that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yep. Skynet. So,
yep. Yeah. So, last but not least this week, we have the biggest news, if you will, which is that Death Stranding.
Team Sonic Racing.
Yes, Team Sonic Racing, that new weird-ass game from Kojima Productions. Kojiko, if you will.
Please, actually go ahead.
Yes. Death Stranding, the game that I think everyone involved in this podcast, those who listened to it, most of the internet thought was probably going to come out eventually, but not anytime soon, because why would it?
Mm-hmm.
From Kojima, is coming out November 8th. And holy shit, does it look like peak Kojima.
Oh yeah, it looks awesome. And they did reveal it on a stream. The new trailer they revealed on a stream. I didn't catch it. I caught
the trailer after
later.
The fact. I had work and could not camp the stream, if you will. If you have not watched the trailer yet, you should go watch it. It is trippy and weird, and
It is 8 minutes of Kojima.
yeah, I once wondered what Kojima's dreams are like. I don't think I wonder that anymore. I think I now know what Kojima, like, if you ever see Kojima just sitting there looking off in the distance, I think I now know what Kojima's thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could actually describe with human words what those thoughts are, but I think I've seen what he thinks he's seeing.
Yeah. Oh, man. So this trailer,
Yeah.
it is definitely peak Kojima. All right, so I do have a few notes.
Don't even know how to start.
Please go ahead.
Talking about this, like, it has been confirmed to be a open world game. You are playing Norman Reedus' character. The president appears to the U.S. seems to be super fucked. The game seems to be a combination of open world stealth against human enemies and open world stealth against ghosts.
Whatever the heck it is that's coming out of this, whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, here we enter in. So we didn't see this in the previous trailers. Kojima's love for crazy politics. Yep. Just the whole Metal Gear series. Now we get this president who is, well, in his words, president of jack shit.
Yeah.
Because there's no USA, and they're also making very strong some basically sitting out there. These are some of the themes that we are definitely hitting. Number one, loneliness and collectivism, and is that important? So, yeah.
Yeah, so trailer maybe implies we will play Norman Reedus and Mad Mikkelsen. It's not clear. So watching this trailer will leave you with more questions than you already have about Death Stranding. Like,
oh yeah.
In true Kojima production kind of way, there's a motorcycle, there appears to be an insta-deploy ladder thing, there are crows, there's crazy wilderness, there's the President of the United States, and I think the Oval Office, the Lincoln bedroom, and like a super chemo bed thing.
Yeah, apparently very sick.
Yes. It's implied that like the western half of the U.S. is just fucked, but not clear why, like via ghost storm.
Yeah, we have definitely not been told how this came to be, and that's what we're going to be, and that's what's going to be, obviously that's what the game is going to be about, is going to lay that out for you. So I can understand why they wouldn't necessarily want to throw that into the trailer. I'm very glad about that. I hate it when trailers ruin major plot points in movies. I've stopped watching a lot of trailers because of it, but this is a rare occasion when I watch one, because I kind of felt like that Kojima likes to keep some of his cards close to the chest. He definitely likes for you to find out by playing rather than by watching a trailer. He's kind of done this all along for many games. The big haha bait and switch in Metal Gear Solid 2 with Raiden. Starting with Snake and then playing with Raiden for the rest of the game.
Well,
so he keeps his cards close to his chest. He doesn't like to reveal everything that's going on, and I like that.
So, and this is where it gets kind of weird. So, the game definitely seems to have some, based on this trailer, some survival aspects to it. And I went from kind of curious and excited about this to really excited about this, because this actually might be a game I've wanted to see someone take a whack at making for a while, which is kind of this... I've always wondered if there was a world where you could make a game that was essentially just survival. I'm not talking survival like The Forest or Don't Starve that have like hostile enemy aspects to it. I'm talking like if you had like a space video game where you get dropped onto like an ice planet or something, and the game is nothing except kind of resource management and getting from point A to point B however you can, and you had like some repair tools and some like generic just equipment like a grappling hook or something like that, just normal kind of mountaineering equipment, if you will. Could you make a game based around that concept? And this definitely seems to have more video game aspects of it, but it also appears to have some of what I'm looking for, which is like, yo, I got to climb this mountain. How do I do that? Thank God I got this weird-ass ladder.
Yeah, I saw also that you can, like, drive a post in the ground and then rappel from it.
Yep.
I mean, there's lots of terrain traversal abilities. That seems to be that a lot of the thing to... And that makes a lot of sense, but yeah, there seems to be a lot of mechanics which revolve around how do I traverse rather rough terrain. So it seems like definitely it's like the environment is, it's not flatlands. It's varied. There's a lot of different. I mean, just from the trailer, there
what
seems
you
to be
might
a lot
encounter
of different...
walking from the left side of the country to the right side of the country, if you will.
Yeah,
with ghosts.
We still don't see exactly what the impetus is, but I know that's going to be tied in with kind of what happened and them figuring out what the aftermath is even consists of, like what is this thing going on.
Yeah.
My own favorite things from the trailer, Mads Mikkelsen singing to me.
Yeah.
I let out a little squee. I love Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Unabashedly, I love Mads Mikkelsen. He is so good. But yeah, him being very awesome, Mads Mikkelsen, and that's what you get a lot of in the trailer.
Yeah, I didn't notice how kind of integral to the game that dude was going to be until this trailer came out, and he is prominently featured in it. And to add to this trailer's weirdness, like someone pulls off a skull mask to have a secondary skull mask on underneath it, kind of thing. A World War II tank appears out of nowhere at one point.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Mads' character appears to be a scientist, a mercenary, and an artist, I guess.
Yeah. We have Guillermo del Toro in there because Kojima likes him. I mean, this is Kojima. Like, I like these actors a lot. I'm just putting them in my game. They're just in my game now.
Yeah.
That's just happening.
Fuck it, Kojima's earned it at this point. Like,
yeah,
dude went so far as to feature Apocalyptica for the entirety of the trailer. If you know who Apocalyptica is, it's a cello band only, right? Like, it's
four cellos.
Yeah. Quartet, I believe that is at that point.
Four cellists or cellists. Yeah.
That play heavy metal covers of stuff. They do some of their own original stuff too.
Yes.
Like, I saw them perform as an opener for Rammstein at one point a while back. Like, they're not what I listen to all the time, but if I want to seem classy, I put them on.
Yeah. Apocalyptica is amazing. They are super good. I super recommend just listening to them, period. But kudos. This is there again, like Kojima. Kojima probably just likes them. He's like, I want their music. I want their music in my trailer.
It also somehow works in the trailer. Like,
oh yeah, it does. Because it just... Alright, so this Apocalyptica just tends to sound epic, all of their songs. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally works. Totally works with the trailer.
I could not tell you what happens in this trailer in a useful and collected way, except like,
oh no,
yo, shit be weird. And there's like a lake of fire at one point, and Mads sings, and there's a deployable ladder, and ghosts, and a ghost tank, and a stealth section featuring ghost tanks and black liquid water, and I don't know. There were no whales, but
yeah, for people that don't know anything about Death Stranding, it just sounds like we're talking about 10 different things.
Yeah.
We're just randomly listing off I mean, I could just make up anything and it'd be believable at this point.
Yeah.
But everything we said so far, it's just actually stuff in the trailer.
Mostly what I learned from this trailer is I want more... I want Mads Mikkelsen, maybe not to do mocap for characters, but like, I want him to voice a character in upcoming RPGs. Like, I want him doing more voice work in the video game industry.
He's just so charismatic. I mean, he just has charisma in buckets. He's amazing. I unabashedly, totally, super have a crush on Mads Mikkelsen.
Sure. Dude was great in Hannibal.
Yeah. And in everything, even in Doctor Strange, kind of a hokey villain, and he just had fun with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely that was a Kojima. That was I would rate that 10 of 10 Kojimas.
I know there's a variety of criticisms out there. I think my favorite of which is I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards, but I'm just excited to see what Kojima does when told, hey, do what the hell you want.
Yeah. And holy crap,
this definitely seems to be that.
Yep. It's just like everything he's ever wanted in a video game is just happening here.
We probably have to bring up the fact, though, that like the two female characters in the trailer are named Fragile and Mama, so while good Kojima's here, also unfortunate Kojima's also in the house.
Yep.
Maybe it'll make sense in context, but I doubt it.
These are themes he's definitely this is also Kojima.
Yep.
Though there again, like the actors he's bringing in for these characters, fantastic actors that are probably just actors. There again, he just likes these actors. He just wants them in his game.
Yeah. Who knows?
I wonder, and this is a side thought. I'm wondering if this game is going to be the one that sort of possibly brings more people into realizing that, hey, games can be art.
Oh, fuck no. This is not...
It's just because of all the big stars being brought in. I mean, these are Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen are now pretty well-known guys. This is Guillermo del Toro. All these, actually, everybody in here, like I mentioned, all these actors, they're all famous mainstream actors. They aren't like an indie darling that two people know about. These are mass appeal, well-known actors in this game. So I mean, this will probably be the new one I'm going to roll out and say, hey, this is a game that just came out. Tell me this is not art. I mean, hopefully this will get some of the, there again, other critics able to look at this and say, hey, you know what? This is serious art. I mean, not to say that me personally, I know that serious art has already been made many times, but it's just the fact that so many other big name people are a part of the project too. So I don't know. That's just a thought.
Yeah. But yeah, Death Stranding out November 8th.
Yep.
I kind of hope they show nothing between now and then. Like, I want Kojima on stage at E3 being like, I know so much about Death Stranding, but I'm not going to tell you about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too.
Yeah.
He's generally has always been kind of tight-lipped about his projects. He doesn't tend to say a lot about them.
I want an hour-long press conference of him and Mads just chilling on stage drinking wine or something.
Throw in Guillermo del Toro in there too.
Sure,
I like that dude.
I'm not as familiar with Guillermo del Toro the person. I enjoy his directing work, but like I don't know him as a person talking about things. The other two I do, and as a result, fuck it, yeah. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, but yeah, Death Stranding,
dude. Yeah, I got nothing to say after that. It's just
it's just
I rewatched the trailer while we were talking. Process. Yeah, I rewatched the trailer while we were talking about it to refresh my memories some, and I'm like, oh, right, I still have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I can't describe it any better the second or third time watching the trailer. I don't have any more. Yeah, nope. You just have to watch the trailer if you want to know more. If you want to know more about the trailer.
If you care about video games and you haven't watched the trailer yet, you should. If you don't care about video games and are curious who the fuck this Kojima guy is, A, how'd you find our podcast? Kudos, and thanks for making it this far. But B, go watch the trailer. It's weird. And then go watch the other two trailers.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, honestly, it is something that I think, like, you would just think it was a movie.
Yeah.
You would just think it was a trailer for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do have some email this week, but we're not going to do it because I think Alex will want to be here for it. It's actually about our Game of Thrones podcast, which if you did not listen to it, go check it out if you want Game of Thrones talk. It's pretty good. It's longer than I thought it was going to be, but
Yeah. We had a bit more to say than we even imagined we did, so...
Yeah. I just thought it was going to be an hour of Alex going, they ruined Game of Thrones, and it wasn't. It was only a half hour of that. But, Henry, if you wanted to send us an email, how would you go about doing that?
That is wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
Again, that's wickedawesomecast@gmail.com. Spells and sounds down in the show notes, etc., etc. That does it for this week. I need to go take some psychedelic drugs and watch the Death Stranding trailer again, because maybe then I'll understand it.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
Cue the metal.